Okay, so again, this would be, another day in a normal semester. So it does ask, the first part here is just reviewing, but we already just did this, but that's okay. So far, all we've done are questions where the A value is 1. And then you could stop there. That's all this question says. Negative 31 would be a nasty vertex. So usually when you're asked to complete the square and then graph, the vertex will be a little bit nicer. But when the A value is not 1, we are actually going to do something similar to what you would have tried to do with factoring, is that we will make sure or try to common factor. So again, in grade 10, you're going to have nice values and nice numbers. And then in grade 11, things can get a little bit more dicey, okay? So when the A value is not 1, you have to common factor whatever number is in front of the x squared value first, which is something that you could have done in the factoring section as well. So this is a filled in one, and so it can be a little bit overwhelming. So if you don't use this slide, again, that's okay. We're going to go through a bunch of examples. So similar to what you would have done before, you're going to common factor. But when you common factor, again, sort of like when we completed the square before, we sort of ignored the C value for a bit. So you're only looking for a common factor, or you're only looking to common factor the first 2 terms. So the x squared term and the x term, and it's going to work. So take the A value, and that is going to be your common factor. So when you common factor, you have to write the number out front. Some of you are still not doing that. You can't just common factor and get rid of it. It needs to still be there, okay? And it's going to really matter here. So now we're going to do the same procedure that you did before. Now this is the B value, okay? So you're still going to do half the B and square it, just like we did before. But when you have the trinomial, that's fine, but you need to sort of distribute this 2 to whatever number you subtract. So here it's in red. X squared plus 6x plus 9 is the factored part. and then this minus 9. Normally, if it was a was 1, you would just go minus 9 plus 1. So when you have an a value, you can't just do that. You have to distribute this 2 to the negative 9. So that's what this step is here. Before you collect like terms. I never said it was. But thank you. Bless you also. So this is a little bit weird. I think it's easier to see when we do it together, okay? All right, so now our a's 3 and negative 4. So you're going to use that number, and that's going to be the common factor. But again, you're only going to common factor the first 2 terms. And you don't need to decide. So this a value is 3, divide by 3. So when we do half b and squared it, the b value is still the term in front of the x. Okay, so now we're gonna half b and square it, just like we did before. Sorry about this box. Okay, so again, you cannot get rid of the 3. You need to keep it there. Still do the same thing, add 16 and minus 16. But now you can't just minus 16. We also have to multiply it by 3. So if you were an arrow drawer in grade 9, draw the arrow. Okay, so the 3 applies over here. No, because we didn't common factor the 17. Okay, so just like the other way, we didn't common factor the 17, so you just keep the c value until you collect like terms, okay? So now it is similar to what you've done before. Keep the 3, factor what the trinomial, 1, 2, 3 terms inside. So again, you can think of the chart, 2 numbers that add to 8 and multiply to 16, or you look at the number over here, that's what you're going to use. So x plus 4 squared, we want it to be factored form. But now we have to multiply and then collect like terms. Okay, so there is a little bit more, algebra to it, more math work. So negative 16 times 3 is negative 48 plus 17. So again, that's 17. You just keep on keeping it until we collect like terms. Negative 48 plus 17 is negative 31. Yes. Because we want it to be vertex form. You can, but that's not what we want to do, right? This is going to tell us if it's vertically stretched or compressed. This tells us if we go right or left, and this tells us up or down. Yes. The A value. Yes. Yes, because what's this called? Yes. Yes. Yes, exactly. So the whole point to this is getting it to vertex form, okay? So yes, no, we are not simplifying. This is, sort of looks weird. It doesn't look like factored form. It's not standard form, and that's on purpose. The reason we need vertex form is to answer other questions. If we had to graph this, you would need the vertex form. We're going to fill in this sentence. If it's a minimum or maximum value and when it occurs, okay? So there's lots you can do once you have vertex form. Yes? Yes. That's not vertex form. Well, think about, like, if I gave you a question, like, let's say I just gave you this and I said what we did yesterday, write the transformations. So you would want this number to tell you that it's vertically stretched by a factor of 3. This is left 4 and this is down 31. So if you had your way, you would have to then change it into this. You would common factor the 3 out in order to do that, right? So this vertex form is what we're trying to get to. It's as useful as possible. And usually the question will say, oh yeah, it does. Write the function in vertex form. So this is what I want you to do. Okay? I'm not trying to trick you. I really try to lay it out. Okay, so in order to do the minimum maximum value, it doesn't ask us to write the vertex, so you could technically do it without. Maybe you can see in your head now that this means left 4 and down 31. That's fine. But if it helps you, then write the vertex out. And just read the question carefully and make sure you answer it, okay? Because there's lots I could ask you. So it's an open up parabola, which means it's going to be a minimum. And so we do the minimum value of y. So again, you just have to, it's an ordered pair, right? Negative 31 when x is negative 4. Yes. So then there's this little extra bit, distribution bit here. Yes, it is. I guess and you have to common factor first. Okay, so we're going to common factor first, but again, you just look for that a value. When it's whatever it is, it's negative 4, so that is going to be our common factor, negative 4. Because if it's negative, when we get to vertex form, no problem. How does our parabola open? Down, right? Okay, so that negative has meaning, so you want to get that out of there. Even if it was like this, That's not negative anymore. Or I mean, sorry, that's not 1 anymore. So what would your common factor be? -1, okay? So even that means you have to follow this procedure, okay? Because eventually we want to factor, you can just do the number. I'll keep with the same color. I'll do my divide, b divided by 2 plus 1. I mean, b divided by 2 squared in red. Keep the negative, okay? That's fine, and it matters. I'll do the colors, sorry. So back to the first 3, 1, 2, 3, just like we did before. And now we have -4 times -4, okay? So that's going to be positive 16. So again, don't make mistakes with your integers, okay? So, and then plus 1. Okay, so now this parabola is a down parabola, so it's a maximum value. Y is going to be 17 and x is 2. So again, this question doesn't specifically say what is the vertex. However, if you need to write it first, no problem, okay? So this is to the right and up. See my idea here too that these vertexes, -31, 17, generally speaking, the grid's not that big, so these ones you probably wouldn't have to graph, so we'll do a graphing one as well. Yes. No. Only if it asks you. Okay, so we're going to do Oh, this one, perfect. This one has just the negative out front. So it almost looks like the value is 1, but that negative matters. So that is going to be our common factor. And then we're going to actually draw this parabola. So that means that there must be a nice vertex, okay? Our grid is 15, 8, -5, so it must fit on here, okay? Oops. You don't need to write it as a -1. You can just put the negative sign. But to emphasize it for yourself, if you want to write the -1, that's totally fine, okay? So now we have a b of positive 10 because the sign is changed because we divided by -1. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, we're not doing that. Sorry. I was overzealous with my common factoring. Sorry. Okay, so now we're factoring the first 3 terms, keep the -1, especially now, right? Once we get vertex form, that negative is going to tell us that the parabola opens down. So x plus 5 squared. And then -25 times -1 is positive 25. So let's say you forgot, and then you kept it -25 and -13. That would give you -38. So then when you would go to try to draw the graph, you'd be like, wait a minute, that doesn't fit on here. And hopefully that's your clue. Okay, I got to go check my math. It doesn't work. All right, so again, when you graph these, you have to write the vertex in the step pattern. So this is left and up, which makes sense. You can see that the up is much bigger than the down. Okay, so then it's, again, try to use things that are going on here. Oh, I think my vertex is going to be up here, not down here. It makes sense. This grid is weird, right? So the step pattern, because it's you've been doing so many, then maybe you just want to write -1, -3, -5. That's fine. You can show all your work. To get there, it's up to you, okay? If you can't see, how does yours look? Oh, pretty good. I was going to say, if you can't see the numbers, but you're good. Okay, so then over 1, down 1, over 1, down 1, 2, 3, over 1, down 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Oh, we can get 7 on here. Nice. Oh, maybe not. Boo. So now this is a down parabola, so that's a max value. Y is 12 when x is negative 5. So again, the homework listed there, I added some extra questions because the old textbook didn't have, like, was terrible. So the solutions for these are underneath the solutions for the worksheet. Your new textbook is much better. There are questions from the textbook, but these ones aren't extra special. Just do as many as humanly possible. The word problems after lunch are not easy, and all of them have an A value that's not 1, okay? So you need to practice this stuff. So lunch is done at 12:15. I'll give you probably till, I'll give you now, and then maybe I'll start the word problems at 12:45. Okay, I'll give you half an hour to keep going on this.